Hello and good evening. I'm Melisa Idris. Welcome to Consider This. This is the show where we want you to consider and then reconsider what you know of the news of the day. As regional leaders gather in Kuala Lumpur for the 46th ASEAN Summit, a parallel gathering of civil society is also underway, the ASEAN Peoples at ASEAN2025 Forum. Over 500 regional civil society organizations are gathering here to discuss key regional issues and is hoping to deliver a bold 5-point advisory to Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim as ASEAN chair, urging ASEAN to place human rights, equity, and inclusion at the heart of its post-2025 framework vision. So joining us on the show to discuss this further is Convening Chair of ASEAN Peoples at ASEAN2025, Jerald Joseph. Jerald, well, thank you for coming on the show ahead of your full and packed weekend. Tell us a little bit about the ASEAN Peoples at ASEAN2025, what that is and what exactly is the core objective of this weekend's forum.
Hi, Melissa. Thanks for the invite. I think it's quite symbolic. 20 years ago, the first ever civil society gathering of ASEAN actually started here in Malaysia when Tun Badawi was the Prime Minister then. That was the first ever initiative of civil society parallel to the ASEAN Summits. And honestly speaking, civil society is not a very friendly welcome, usually in intergovernmental meetings, and more so for ASEAN. But I think over the last 20 years, things have gotten better. Some recognition, but still not the easiest. Our place officially in the ASEAN Summit really is on the furthest periphery, if I may say, always hoping to be taken seriously as one of the key stakeholders. But that's the reason we organize this. As chair, Prime Minister Anwar is managing the serious chair of all the intergovernmental issues. But also we as the people of ASEAN also have very deep concerns, as serious or even more serious than the governments tend to remind themselves of. So that's why we brought ourselves together, and I think today is a travel day. Tomorrow in the morning at 8:30 we'll see about 550 people from all over ASEAN, Sabah, Sarawak, North, South, East Coast of Semenanjung, convening to discuss a variety of topics, and human rights topic, really very development topics. Climate change has taken on a very strong focus this time. Corruption, good governance. So I think this is what ASEAN is, maybe for diplomats, talking openly, it's a bit of a tough call. Some want, some don't want. But for civil society, I think that is where we have the space to honestly discuss matters on the ground, but also seriously develop some ideas, workable ideas for governments to take these issues at a different level, not just the hand-crossing nice ASEAN photo. I mean, I like it too. It always is a bit of a mess, but I think that mess should be unmasked as ASEAN peoples.
Jerald, can I ask you, so if this is almost like a full circle moment, have the issues changed? Have the issues increased? And is that a good thing that we're bringing more issues to the table, or is that a bad thing that there are more things to be concerned about?
I think ASEAN has always taken the approach of a progressive, step-by-step approach, which is understandable. And I think no issue has a magic wand. Some you can clear it off just by political will, like no torture, stop it, no corruption, but reality is different. But I think some issues are persistent, I think, and that needs to be realized. Sadly, we had a moment for Myanmar when the ASEAN chairmanship or chairpersonship was actually in the period of a democratic government there. And now it's reverted back to military government. So, and that brings a whole array of trouble. So, in one sense, it's familiar ground. sadly, we should not be on such type of familiar grounds. We should be celebrating changes in a better way. But on other fronts, I'm actually quite, I was just smiling at myself yesterday saying, this time I think the largest sector registered and attending here are the climate change, environmental people. And that's for me a big shift. 10 years ago when I was chairing also, we brought 1,500 people, and that time we were fighting for, freedom of assembly, stop the torture, free and fair election. I mean, it's all still there, but I'm really happy to say the new concerns getting more and more traction. And I think that's also what human rights should speak to. Environment, climate change, clean air, clean water, all those kind of things. But of course, we also have a few newer issues, and I think a bit more sparked by the Malaysian reality, like marriage migration, children, next generation. And Malaysia is a good case study for the issue of statelessness, both the Rohingya statelessness that belongs to another country in ASEAN, but also our own statelessness issues in Sabah and some of the states that need to be handled. Also, we still feel we are not really there in terms of a robust mechanism to handle corruption. And I think this is where ASEAN can come in. Cross-border corruption, that actually a good ASEAN framework can help mitigate,
Right.
So, and I think the saddest part is migration. We are all beneficiaries, especially Malaysia, of our neighbors' labor, strength, and decades of contributing, but the standards are still not there. And I think ASEAN should actually be a beacon that prosper thy neighbor should be our battle cry.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's so true. And what I'm so impressed about this forum that you're putting together is that there's so many thematic clusters that are going to be discussed. So covering a whole range of topics. And if I understand correctly, each of these thematic cluster discussions will lead to a 5-point recommendation to be given to the Prime Minister. And the idea is that having this advisory paper to contribute to the new 20-year framework for the ASEAN community.
So correct, yeah. So Melisa, you're right. I think we knew that if we started to do the work now and send the 5-point to our Prime Minister now, he will have no time to look at it because he'll be caught in traffic jams also. So we, as a strategy, finalized this paper at the end of January, submitted the paper officially to him as chair of ASEAN. So the 5 points are already synthesized from the various thematic groups. This time, it will be a bit more deeper dive in on strategies, on how to take it forward. And also, we are all waiting because no one has a clue what is a 2045 vision.
Right.
I can only guess it should not be regress to what it was. But I hope it's time-bound, it's specific, it's targeted, it's measurable, no? So that ASEAN can really feel ASEAN rather than just talk, So 10 years ago, it was launched also in Malaysia, I think the vision. But now it's going to stretch on to 2045, which I think is a correct timeline. But what is there, I'm hoping the concerns of the people are taken into as serious consideration by governments and business people and other stakeholders. I was a commissioner in SOACAM, Human Rights Commission. So one of my simple hopes is that can every country in ASEAN have a Human Rights Commission? And now we only have 6 out of 11, including Timor-Leste, right? Yeah. So where are the other 5? So I really pray and hope that's a small ask, a low-hanging fruit that should not be difficult. Yeah.
Jerald, sometimes ASEAN and these types of ASEAN summits can be very state-centric, can be very focused on state issues as opposed to people issues. And one of the, I think, promises of ASEAN was it's supposed to be people-centered. How are you seeing that trajectory? That is ASEAN becoming more people-centered as opposed to state-centric?
Well, honestly speaking, I think the comfort level with the critical civil society base has been a tension of growing respect, if I can put it that way. Some governments like Malaysia, we have come to another phase where society is seen as partners, invited to many meetings. That old Malaysia where if you go out, the policeman will come and say what meeting. Now the policeman is calling me, asking me information. I'm sending him and telling him, is it? Oh, I just want to know how many MPV or police I need to set up. So it's a totally different space. But honestly speaking, not every country is like that. We don't have such anecdotes to tell. It's not that we are perfect. We still have a lot of torture happening and abuse, But the reason we chose our theme, our ASEAN peoples at the core, is the very answer to your question, Melisa. We still feel the words are hollow, it's symbolic, and it's not really touching that power of almost 800 million. I think we are touching 800 million ASEAN people. And the fear that if we are a truly cohesive, unified region, that means, we'll have to go into democratic style, sustainable government, no corruption, climate justice. All the good things should be celebrated, but many governments get rattled because politically they feel democracy is painful. We know it is painful, but it brings a lot of good benefits. And so I really hope that partnering, and this is where ASEAN as an entity, the governments as another entity, must get the ASEAN Secretariat to also be open to us.
Right.
At present, the ASEAN Secretariat is not easy to get into the.
I was actually about to ask you whether ASEAN has the kind of institutional mechanisms to respond meaningfully to civil society proposals like the advisory paper that you're putting forth.
So ASEAN works in very segmented, very departmentalized. So if we want to bring our paper to the ASEAN as a whole. So we go to the chairs, just good that the chair is Malaysian Prime Minister. But he must do more to open up spaces for our participation. And 10 years ago, I remember it was quite monumental for civil society in Malaysia under then government. That time was Prime Minister Najib's time. We had actually access into the main meeting hall. I think 20 of us. I was walking freely in and out. I'm looking around and say, am I in the right meeting? I was afraid somebody will arrest me. But I had the correct tag. And then when I checked, they said, yeah, you are civil society. We gave you 10. Wow. I think that's the kind of changes that a good government can enable. You cannot change all the mechanics, but find ways. And I'm hoping Summit is not, Summit is a high game. But in between the Summit, there's like hundreds of meetings. I had 600 to 700 meetings a year. The ministerial meetings on agriculture, on economy, on women's rights, I think that's not so political. But civil society is not present there as a partner. I would actually one day hope this is institutionalized. And that's why I said the ASEAN Secretariat must actually make people the core. If people find like we can go into regularly, meet with them, but it's so difficult to get a meeting with the ASEAN Secretariat. I think from the top to the bottom, it's so structuralized. And I think the consensus mechanism, while it has grown ASEAN to where it is, it's also regressive because it's a de facto veto to stop any good progression also. So I think we're maturing. It's about time. I hope the vision captures some of this difficulty and not hide it under the carpet because the younger generation will just need AI to tell what's the flaw in ASEAN. So you don't need to really try to hide anything. Yeah.
Well, Jerald, I wish you the best of luck for the forum this weekend, and I hope it invigorates all the 550 civil society delegates that will be attending. Thank you so much for speaking with me today.
Thank you, Melisa.
That was convening chair of ASEAN Peoples at ASEAN 2025, Jerald Joseph. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back after this to discuss more about the People's Forum. Stay tuned. Hi, welcome back to Consider This. I'm Melisa Idris. Let's continue our discussion about the ASEAN Peoples at ASEAN 2025 Forum, which will be held this weekend. It's a gathering of civil society groups from across the region, all held alongside the 46th ASEAN Summit, chaired, of course, by Malaysia. Now, one of the thematic clusters that will be discussed at the forum is regional advocacy for Myanmar, with a focus on refugee issues. Now, joining us to discuss this further is one of the participants of the thematic cluster. Awng Awng is a youth coordinator for the Coalition of Burma Ethnics in Malaysia, also known as COBEM. Welcome to the show, Awng Awng. Thank you for being here. Tell me a little bit about your organization, COBEM, and how are you involved with the ASEAN Peoples Forum? What does it mean for you to be part of this process?
My name is Awng Awng. I'm youth coordinator of COBEM. Our the mainly purpose is to provide to joint service and program and coordinate advocacy effort for refugee and asylum seeker in Malaysia. We vote in the Asian People ASEAN 2025. I hope is that ASEAN 2025 will be hopeful can support us or our refugee people.
How can your people, the refugees here, be more supported? I understand that there are many young ethnic Burmese who have fled Myanmar and now living in Malaysia. What are their challenges that they face here?
The first thing we are challenging about the job vacancy, because we come here is our country. You also know, right? 2021 we happening the military coup. Then a lot of young generation is cannot be stable there, and then we're against, and then the army side they will be catching a lot of that thing and then kill people, so many things. Then a lot of young generation can alive in their survive at our country, and they find the way they come out from our country. For example, here is mostly is a lot of young generation go out from country is Malaysia and Thailand and Japan or somewhere of a lot of country they choosing. Now I'm the one stay in Malaysia. In Malaysia, we young generation what the facing is number one is safety. Our country is feel like not safety, but we come here, come with is illegal way. Then all that become the refugee. Then number one is we go also we don't have safety. The second is our education. The second one is education. Then our country happening like that here, we can study anymore here. And about the job vacancy. And we have so many challenging. One of my example, my experience when I work here 2022 December to 2023, I working one of the management office. I don't want to mention about that one, but I work there. They didn't give my salary 3 months.
Oh, wow.
Then we have to support our parents. We have to alive ourselves. Then they don't give us that salary. Then we very difficult. And some of the young people is they don't know how to communicate with English. Then when they need, we go to help them what they need. Then we try to apply the asylum seeker, they help us to get back our salary, something like that. That one is very hard. And sometimes they facing on the road with the police.
Right.
Very hard. Same like our young people is hopeless.
Okay. Right. Can I ask you, by being part of this forum, you're going to have all the different NGOs, CSOs come and talk. What are you hoping you will discuss during this forum? Are you hoping to share about some of the challenges you face, your other young ethnic Burmese face as well?
Yeah. It's inside the COBEM is we got the other artists also including Then some of the ethnic people is like some in Malaysia, somewhere they stay, and then they don't know how to communicate English, right? They very difficult to join the find the work, and then even work also like uh bully.
Yeah.
You know, like that, because like we're foreigner, one thing foreigner, one thing is like refugee. That a lot of people it's like hard to find a job, and then even we come here refugee also we don't have supporting. Then we need living costs, of food, the like everything accessory, fair awareness, or everything we need. But we have to work.
Right.
We very hard to get the job. That one we facing. Even get the job also, they didn't give us like the salary, like the pay rate. You know, like pay rate. That one we didn't get it. Then a very difficult that one. And also some is like inside the work they attaching something like accidentally. The other side is like don't have responsible.
No accountability, no responsibility. When you say that the people who are here, Burmese people who are here, who are living in exile, who are living as refugees, need to be supported, what do you mean by need to be supported? What kind of support would you like to see, especially as now Malaysia is chair and Malaysia says that, you know, that it's focused on helping the Myanmar crisis be resolved. What kind of support in the meantime can Malaysia do to support Burmese people here in our country?
In Malaysia government now is like very give us opportunity become already. Then like seem like we have to support us. Please let us stay here. Even refugee also, like some of the people also, a lot of refugee in here. One thing I thank you to Malaysia government accept for our refugee. That one thing is for us like our country then safety here. That one I really appreciate and very thank you. And also please think for us like now previous the third country, some of the US, they discuss,
they don't accept refugees anymore, right?
That one is then for our refugee one more hopeless, like all we can go other place. We stay here, then.
Well, what about you, Awng Awng? What is your hope? Are you hopeful for the future personally? What are your dreams? What do you hope the future holds for you?
For me, for the future, I hope in Malaysia government they accept the refugee young generation can study, and then can protection more. And please support more, more and more support to us.
So you want to study and you want to work?
Because for all the young generation is have to study, then can get more good opportunity to work. I want both.
Yes, I mean, I think same as many other Malaysian youths who are here want to study and want to work and for a hopeful future, right? Yeah. Awng Awng, thank you so much for speaking with me. I appreciate your time and thank you for sharing your experiences. I hope you have a very good discussion with the ASEAN People's Forum. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
That was Awng Awng, Youth Coordinator for the Coalition of Burma Ethnics in Malaysia, also known as COBEM. And that wraps up this episode of Consider This. I'm Melisa Idris, signing off for the evening. Thank you so much for watching and good night.